Hi everyone, so for today's video I'd like to go over some of the art canvases I have finished, and many of these canvases are listed on my Mercari shop, which I will go ahead and link down below. So for the first canvas is this rabbit painting, so it's supposed to be a rabbit fairy. So for this one I used a regular acrylic paint, but for the wings I used a iridescent white, which would be this one right here. What I do like about these paints is that it's a much thicker consistency than the regular paints that I use, but they also come in these type of iridescent colors, which I really loved using on the fairy wings. For this next canvas, I used modeling paste as well as polymer clay charms to give the canvas texture. So for the clouds, these right here are made out of modeling paste. And while I was waiting for them to dry, I added these polymer clay charms. And I also added these colorful glitters on the clouds. And then for the main sticker, so to stick it, I also used modeling paste. So I've had this one ready, I would say, for almost more than 5 months. So it's really stuck on there. And this one I also currently have listed on my shop, and it's one of my favorites I've done so far. This next canvas's theme is Halloween. So I created these cute bunny ghosts. I'm not sure if that's how they turned out to look like, but that's what it's meant to be. And what I like about this is that I was able to create a 3D texture on it. So if you do touch it, it's lifted off the canvas a bit. And to achieve a glowy effect, I used a sponge and added white acrylic all over the ghost. So it's on the front and on the sides as well. And I really love the purple, the dark purple that I used on this. And it is a lifted canvas, so it'll look really nice on any wall. This next canvas is inspired by the BT21 cookie mascot. So as you can see for this one, I try to create a cookie type of um drawing. So it is 3D, as you can see. So for the bottom here, it's actually modeling paste like the ones I've been using in the other canvases. And then so I let that dry, and then the next day I came in with another type of textured paste. So this paste dries glossy and it is more softer to the touch. And then after that I drew in the face, and I just really love how this one turned out since it does look like a cookie, which is the character's name, and this one is also currently listed on my Mercari page. This next canvas has a bit more texture to it, so it is a 3D canvas as the ghost canvas I showed before. So for this one, this was one of my first ones I did. I used ombre effects on the side, all over the side of the canvas. And then I did use a piping bag to create these types of cake textures. And then again, these textures are made with modeling paste. And I wanted to experiment with this, so I added a charm and I added more of the glitter and polymer clay sprinkles. And so far, they have been holding up really well, and I just really like the colors here. It does give it a more cake look with the colors. This is a tall canvas, and I will have this listed up on my Mercari page. This next canvas is similar to the one I just showed, so it's also inspired by a cake. The canvas, I used a piping bag to create the cake-like effect. And after letting that dry, I went in and drew the sprinkles. On the top of the canvas, I used a textured paste that is shiny and glossy when it dries up. So as you can see how shiny it is in the reflection. And then for Kuromi's face, again, I used the piping bag to create a whip-like pattern. I really loved how it turned out. It looks super awesome in the light, and it really looks like a cake. So here's how it looks like. I'm really proud of this one, and I really love how the colors turned out. It kind of gives me a 90s vibe look to it. And I currently have my melody Keroppi, Tuxedo Sam, and I believe other characters completed. Um, the other ones are on a much flatter canvas. These are currently listed on my Mercari shop, so if you're interested in looking at them in more detail, you could go ahead and click on my shop's link down below. The next cookie-like canvas I created was this Pokemon Ditto character. So as you can see, I used modeling paste as my base, and as soon as that dried up, I used textured paste, which is a much more glossier texture, and then I painted on the face details. And this is how it looks. This is a much smaller canvas, so it's a 4x4, and I really love how the texture and the colors turned out. Also, I just want to note that I keep them in Ziploc bags just so they won't accumulate dust and just to give them protection overall. This next canvas is a 3D cupcake painting. So for this one, again, I used modeling paste for the top and it does dry hard. And for that one, I used an ombre type of effect. So I used pink and purple. And while I was waiting for that to dry, while it's still wet, I added the polymer clay sprinkles as well as the glitter. And then this charm right here, I actually had made it for a jewelry piece that I was working on, but I felt like it fit this canvas better. So as you can see, it does have um a hole right here where I was planning on adding a string, but I decided to use it on this canvas. And I'm really glad I did because it does look like a cherry on top. So this heart is handmade out of polymer clay. And then just to give it more background, I did add sprinkles around the border. And then this canvas also does have an ombre effect to it. And this is a small 4x4, which is also currently listed on my shop. And see, if I turn it around, you can see the lifted texture to it. And it'll look really cute on any wall. This next canvas is a bunny sundae painting. So it is also textured. And to achieve the glossiness, I again used textured paste. As you can see, all the colors are glossy. And then for the bottom, I used modeling paste. And I also used a piping bag like my other previous canvases, just to give it more of a whip effect. And then I really wanted to give this more of a summer vibe, so I did use 3 types of lighter colors in the background and created an ombre effect. And I really love how this one turned out. It's one of the paintings that I used textures on all the details, and it's really such a great piece to add to any wall. This is a 4x4, so it is a much smaller canvas, and it's also listed on my shop. This next canvas I'd like to show is one of my favorites. I know I said that in the for the other ones, but I think this one might be one of my top 3. So for this one, it was inspired by the Powerpuff Girl popsicles that I had as a child. I remember always wanting these during the summer growing up, and I believe they still sell them around. But for this canvas, again, I used modeling paste to give it a lifted effect. And then for the eyeballs, I used beads that I had. So for this one, I used a pink one to give it more like a bubblegum effect to it. And then once my paste was dried, I went in and added the details on her face. And before the paste dried, I added half of a popsicle stick onto the paste just so it could give it more of a popsicle look. And then on the sides, I did create a model. I did create an ombre effect. So I used blue, a light blue or almost an aquamarine or teal color, and yellow. So this is one of my favorites I made. And I also made, I don't know if you remember, but there's also a Tweety Bird popsicle. So I made that one as well, but I don't have it. Since I did do a market last month, I believe, and that one was one of my first ones that sold. So this one is really special to me because it reminds me of the first one I made, the Tweety one. And this one is also currently listed on my Mercari page. And as you can see, it's also a lifted canvas and it is a 4x4. But I really like if you hang it anywhere, you could see the textures popping out. So these are just some of the canvases I have completed and are currently listed on my shop. But I do have more that are finished, but most of those are listed. I am currently also working on other type of art, so I've also created a piñata, which I'll go ahead and show you right now. So these are the piñatas that I have completed. So this one I made for my rabbit's birthday, since this character reminds me a lot of her. Um, and I do have a step by step of how I created this piñata on my TikTok, which I can also link that down below. And since this one was made for her, this is her piñata, so I made another one to list online. So I made this Kuromi one, and for these colors I used more of a pastel look to I gave it more of a pastel look to it. And it's all handmade, made out of cardboard. I also drew every detail on it, and this one is listed on my shop. So those are all the canvases that I wanted to show today. And if you're interested in anything, the piñata or the canvases, they are listed on my shop. If you are coming from YouTube, I would like to offer you a discount code. So if you're interested in anything, make sure to DM me on Mercari and just say you saw my video on YouTube, and I'll be sure to give you a good discount code. Um, and that's currently all I have for today. But if you would like to like the video and subscribe, I will be coming out with more kawaii videos. I also want to start vlogging more, so hopefully I'm able to vlog myself creating my artwork. But I do currently have some of my behind the scenes of creating my artwork on my social media pages, on Instagram and on TikTok. So if you would like to follow me on those platforms as well. So I am currently on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. So if you're wanting to check more behind the scenes or just see my process as well as what material I used, I do show them on there. And if I don't, you could always go ahead and leave a comment and I'll be sure to respond to you. Thank you so much for watching.